Bianca Thompson stared at the man across the table and felt her stomach twist into knots. This was supposed to be a simple blind date. Her Aunt Gloria had promised that Derek was a real catch and exactly what you need. What Bianca needed right now was an escape route. So, as I was saying, Derek continued, not noticing that Bianca hadn't spoken in 5 minutes, my last 3 girlfriends just couldn't handle my success. I mean, when you're closing deals worth $500,000, you need a woman who understands the pressure. Do you know what I mean? Bianca forced a smile and nodded, her fingers gripping her water glass so tightly her knuckles hurt. Derek had spent the last 40 minutes talking about his car, his condo, his gym routine, and his impressive sales record. He had asked her exactly 2 questions. What she did for work, which he'd barely listened to before interrupting, and whether she liked Italian food, which didn't matter because he'd already ordered for both of them without asking. The thing is, Derek leaned forward and Bianca caught a whiff of overpowering cologne. Most women say they want a confident man but then they get intimidated. Are you the intimidating type, Bianca? Before she could answer, Derek's phone buzzed. He picked it up immediately, holding up one finger. Hold that thought. I have to take this. It's probably about the Henderson account. As Derek launched into a loud conversation about quarterly projections, Bianca looked around the restaurant desperately. The Pearl was one of the nicest restaurants in the city, with soft lighting, elegant decor, and prices that made her wince. She couldn't just walk out. Could she fake a family emergency? Pretend to be sick? That's when she saw him. A man emerged from the hallway leading to the bathrooms and Bianca's breath caught. He was tall, with dark hair and sharp features, wearing a perfectly tailored charcoal suit. But it wasn't his looks that made her stare. It was the fact that she recognized him from somewhere. Had they met at a work function? A networking event? An absolutely terrible, desperate, ridiculous idea formed in her mind. Derek was still on his phone, now laughing loudly at something his colleague said, completely oblivious to Bianca's existence. She made a split-second decision that would change everything. Bianca stood up, smoothed down her emerald green dress, and walked straight toward the handsome stranger. Her heart hammered in her chest. This was insane. This was stupid. This was her only option. "Excuse me," she said softly as she reached him. The man turned, and up close he was even more striking. He had kind eyes, the color of warm honey, and when he looked at her, something flickered in his expression. Recognition? Surprise? "I know this is going to sound completely crazy," Bianca rushed on, keeping her voice low, "but I need your help. I'm on a terrible blind date and I need to get out of here. Would you be willing to pretend to be my boyfriend? Just for a few minutes? Please?" She watched his face carefully, expecting him to refuse, to look at her like she was out of her mind, to make an excuse and walk away. Instead, the corners of his mouth lifted into a slow smile. "I'd be happy to help," he said, and his voice was deep and warm. Relief flooded through Bianca. "Thank you so much. I just need you to come over, maybe act like you know me, and I can say I have to leave. That's all. I really appreciate this." "Don't worry," he said, and there was something in his tone that should have warned her. "I'll make it convincing." They walked back toward her table together. Derek had finally gotten off the phone and was looking around with an annoyed expression. "There you are," the stranger said loudly, and Bianca felt his arms slide around her waist. "Sorry I'm late, sweetheart." Derek looked up, confusion crossing his face. "Who is this?" "This is my boyfriend," Bianca said quickly. "I'm so sorry, Derek. There's been a misunderstanding. I didn't realize my aunt was setting me up on a date when I already have a boyfriend." She expected that to be the end of it. A simple explanation, a quick exit, maybe an awkward apology. What she didn't expect was what happened next. The stranger pulled her closer and looked down at her with an expression of such tender adoration that Bianca's breath caught. "I can't believe you almost went on a date with someone else," he said, his voice carrying across the nearby tables. "Don't you know how much I love you?" Bianca's eyes widened. This was more than she'd asked for. Way more. "I've been in love with you for so long," he continued, and other diners were starting to turn and look. "Every day I wake up grateful that you're in my life. You're brilliant, beautiful, kind, and you make me want to be a better man." Bianca managed, her face growing hot. "You don't have to." But he wasn't done. He took both her hands in his, and Bianca noticed several people pulling out their phones. "Oh no. Oh no, no, no. Bianca Thompson," he said, and she realized with a jolt that he knew her full name. How did he know her name? "You are the most amazing woman I've ever met. Your passion for helping others, your intelligence, your laugh. Everything about you makes my world brighter." Please, Bianca whispered, mortified. The entire restaurant was watching now. This is too much. Nothing is too much for you, he declared. He turned to address the restaurant at large. This woman right here is the love of my life. I don't care who knows it. Derek had gone pale and was gathering his things to leave. Mission accomplished, except now Bianca was the center of attention in a room full of strangers, and this man who was supposed to help her was making a scene that would haunt her nightmares. I should probably go, she hissed through clenched teeth, still trying to smile. Not before this, he said, and before Bianca could process what was happening, he dipped her backward like they were in an old movie and kissed her. The restaurant erupted in applause. Bianca's mind went blank. This was not a fake kiss. This was a real, genuine, toe-curling kiss that made her forget where she was, forget the dozens of phones recording them, forget everything except the feeling of his lips on hers and his strong arms supporting her. When he pulled her back upright, Bianca was dizzy, breathless, and absolutely mortified. She could see phones everywhere, recording, photographing. This was a disaster. I think we're done here, she managed to say, her voice shaky. Let me walk you out, he said smoothly, as if he hadn't just performed a scene from a romantic movie in the middle of a crowded restaurant. They made it outside into the cool evening air, and Bianca immediately pulled away from him, her face burning with embarrassment. What was that? You asked me to pretend to be your boyfriend, he said, looking entirely too pleased with himself. I asked you to help me get away from a bad date, not perform a Broadway show, Bianca snapped. People were recording us. This is going to be all over social media. I'm going to be a meme. Oh my God, I wish the ground would just open up and swallow me whole right now. I thought I was being helpful, he said, but there was a glimmer of amusement in his eyes that made Bianca want to strangle him. Helpful would have been a simple, hey, we need to go. Not a declaration of eternal love in front of 50 people with cameras. She ran her hands over her face. This is a nightmare. I'm Logan, by the way, he said, extending his hand. Logan Prescott. The name hit Bianca like a bucket of ice water. Logan Prescott. The Logan Prescott. Billionaire tech mogul. Owner of Prescott Technologies. One of the youngest self-made billionaires in the country. That's where she'd seen him. Not at a work function. In Forbes magazine. In newspaper articles. On the news. You're Logan Prescott, she said slowly. The billionaire. That's me, he confirmed, and he had the audacity to look proud of himself. Oh my God. Bianca felt her knees go weak. Oh my God. I just asked a billionaire to pretend to be my boyfriend, and now there are videos of us all over the internet, and everyone is going to think I'm some kind of gold digger who staged this for attention. I don't think that, Logan said gently. You don't matter, Bianca practically wailed. Everyone else will. My boss is going to see this. My family is going to see this. My ex-boyfriend is going to see this and think I've lost my mind. Bianca, Logan said, and his voice was surprisingly kind. I'm sorry. I got carried away. I thought I was helping, but I can see that I made things worse. Let me make it right. How? Bianca demanded. How can you possibly make this right? Unless you have a time machine, there's nothing you can do. Give me your number, Logan said. Let me think about this overnight and I'll call you tomorrow with a solution. There is no solution, Bianca said miserably, but she pulled out her phone anyway. What did she have to lose at this point? Her dignity was already in shreds. They exchanged numbers and Logan called a car for her. As Bianca climbed into the back seat, she looked back at him standing on the sidewalk, still looking unfairly handsome and completely unbothered by the chaos he'd created. I really am sorry, he called out. Bianca didn't answer. She just closed the door and let the driver take her home, where she could properly panic about what had just happened. By the time she reached her apartment, her phone was already buzzing with notifications. Text messages. Social media tags. Missed calls. With shaking hands, she opened Twitter and searched for Logan Prescott's name. There it was. Video after video of their scene in the restaurant. Billionaire Logan Prescott declares love in restaurant. Tech mogul's romantic gesture goes viral. Who is Logan Prescott's mystery girlfriend? The videos had thousands of views already. Tens of thousands. The comments ranged from people gushing over how romantic it was to people speculating about who she was and why a billionaire would be interested in her. Bianca dropped her phone on the couch and walked to her bathroom, staring at her reflection in the mirror. Her lipstick was smudged from the kiss. Her carefully styled hair was mussed. Her eyes were wide with panic. What have I done? She whispered to her reflection. Her phone rang. It was her best friend, Nicole. Girl, Nicole said the moment Bianca answered. You need to explain to me why there are videos of you kissing Logan Prescott all over my timeline right now. Bianca sank down onto her bathroom floor, her back against the tub. It's a long story. I have all night, Nicole said. Start talking. Have you ever made a split-second decision that changed your entire life? Bianca's desperate escape plan just went viral, and now she's tangled up with a billionaire who won't leave her alone. What would you do in her situation? Drop a comment below and subscribe to see how this mess unfolds. Bianca woke up to her phone ringing. Again. It had been ringing on and off since 6 in the morning, and she'd been ignoring it, hoping that somehow the internet would forget about her if she just stayed in bed long enough. No such luck. She grabbed her phone and saw 17 missed calls from various family members, 12 from colleagues, and 5 from numbers she didn't recognize. Her social media notifications had climbed into the thousands overnight. She was trending. Actually trending. On multiple platforms. This cannot be happening, she muttered, pulling her pillow over her face. A knock at her apartment door made her sit up. She wasn't expecting anyone. Wrapping herself in her robe, she padded to the door and peered through the peephole. Logan Prescott stood in her hallway, holding 2 coffee cups and a bakery bag. Bianca's first instinct was to pretend she wasn't home. Her second instinct was to open the door and demand to know how he'd gotten her address. Her third instinct, which unfortunately won out, was to check her reflection in the hallway mirror and cringe at her messy hair and yesterday's smudged mascara before opening the door. Good morning, Logan said cheerfully, as if showing up unannounced at someone's apartment was perfectly normal behavior. How did you get my address? Bianca demanded. I have resources, Logan said vaguely. Can I come in? I brought coffee and croissants. Also, I have a proposition for you. Bianca should have said no. She should have told him to leave and never contact her again. Instead, she found herself stepping aside and letting him into her small apartment. It suddenly felt even smaller with Logan Prescott standing in it, looking around with interest. Nice place, he said. I like what you've done with it. Bianca's apartment was tiny but cozy. She'd spent months decorating it on a budget, finding deals on furniture, painting accent walls herself, filling it with plants and photos and things that made her happy. Compared to what Logan probably lived in, it was nothing. What's your proposition? She asked, deciding to skip the small talk. Logan set the coffee and pastries on her small kitchen counter. Have you seen the videos? Of course I've seen the videos. The whole world has seen the videos. Okay, so here's the situation, Logan said, leaning against her counter. Those videos are everywhere. People are fascinated by the story. The mysterious girlfriend. The romantic billionaire. It's good publicity for both of us, actually. Good publicity? Bianca repeated incredulously. People think I'm some kind of opportunist who trapped you into a relationship. Some people think that, Logan acknowledged. But most people think it's romantic. And here's what I'm proposing. What if we let them keep thinking that? Bianca stared at him. What? Hear me out, Logan said, holding up his hands. We pretend to date for a few months. It helps my image because people are already responding positively to seeing me in a relationship. And it helps your image because instead of being the girl who asked a stranger for help, you're my girlfriend. Plus, I'll make it worth your while. Worth my while, Bianca repeated flatly. I'll donate a substantial amount to any charity you choose, Logan said. And I'll help promote your work. You're a marketing coordinator, right? At Henderson and Associates. How do you know that? I did some research, Logan admitted. You've been working there for 3 years. You're very good at what you do. Your campaigns for their nonprofit clients have been particularly impressive. Bianca felt a strange mix of flattery and unease. You researched me. I wanted to know who I was making a scene with in a restaurant, Logan said with a small smile. Look, I know this sounds strange. But think about it practically. The story is already out there. We can't take it back. So why not use it to our advantage? 3 months of fake dating. We attend some events together, post a few photos, play the happy couple. Then we have a quiet, mutual breakup and we both move on with our lives. No drama. And what do you get out of this besides good publicity? Bianca asked suspiciously. Logan was quiet for a moment. Honestly? My father has been pressuring me to settle down. He thinks I'm not serious enough about life. Having a girlfriend, especially someone like you, someone accomplished and kind and real, would get him off my back for a while. Someone like me, Bianca repeated. Someone who isn't interested in me for my money, Logan clarified. You didn't even know who I was when you asked me to help you. Do you know how rare that is? Most people know exactly who I am and exactly how much I'm worth before they even say hello. Bianca picked up one of the coffee cups and took a sip. It was perfect, exactly how she liked it. How did you know how I take my coffee? Lucky guess, Logan said, but something in his expression made Bianca think it wasn't a guess at all. She walked to her small couch and sat down, cradling the warm cup. This is insane. Completely insane, Logan agreed, sitting in the chair across from her. But is it really crazier than what already happened? He had a point. Bianca looked at him carefully. He seemed genuine, but she barely knew him. If I agreed to this, and I'm not saying I am, what would it actually involve? Attending events together, Logan said. Maybe dinner once or twice a week where people might see us. Some social media posts. Nothing too invasive. You'd keep your job, your life, your privacy as much as possible. I just need you to show up as my girlfriend when it matters. For 3 months. 3 months, Logan confirmed. And at the end we say we realized we wanted different things, we part as friends, and that's it. And the charity donation? Name your amount and your cause, Logan said. Within reason. Though my reason is probably different from yours. Bianca thought about the youth center where she'd volunteered in college. They were always struggling for funding, always trying to provide programs for kids who needed them with resources that never seemed to be enough. What could they do with a significant donation from a billionaire? I need to think about it, she said finally. That's fair, Logan said. He stood up. Think about it. But decide soon, because my publicist is already getting calls about who you are, and it would be better to get ahead of the story. Your publicist? Bianca said weakly. I'll have her call you if you agree, Logan said. He headed toward the door, then paused. For what it's worth, I really am sorry about last night. I got carried away. But I meant what I said in there. About being in love with me? Bianca asked sarcastically. We just met. No, Logan said quietly. About you being brilliant and kind. I've noticed you before, Bianca. At the Charity Innovation Summit last year. At the Marketing Excellence Awards. At the Tech for Good conference. You always asked the smartest questions. You always treated everyone with respect, from the keynote speakers to the catering staff. I noticed. Before Bianca could respond, he was gone, the door closing softly behind him. She sat on her couch, holding her coffee, trying to process what had just happened. Logan Prescott had noticed her before. He'd remembered her. And now he wanted to fake date her. Her phone buzzed. A text from her mother. Call me right now, Bianca Marie Thompson. I just saw a video of you kissing some man in a restaurant. Another text from her brother Jordan. Is that really Logan Prescott? The Logan Prescott? Are you dating him? Another from her sister Denise. We need to talk. This looks bad. Another from Nicole. Girl, he brought you coffee? At your apartment? What is happening? Bianca set her phone face down and ate one of the croissants Logan had brought. It was delicious, buttery and perfect. Exactly the kind of pastry she would have chosen for herself. She thought about her job, where she worked hard every day to make a difference but always felt like she was barely scraping by financially. She thought about the youth center and all the kids who could benefit from better resources. She thought about her family and how they'd react to her dating someone like Logan Prescott. She thought about Logan's eyes when he'd said he'd noticed her before. The way he'd kissed her last night, which had felt far too real for something that was supposed to be fake. This was a terrible idea. It was complicated and risky and could blow up in her face in a dozen different ways. But as Bianca pulled out her phone and looked at her contacts, she found herself scrolling to Logan's number. She typed out a text. I want $50,000 for the Riverside Youth Center. And I want final approval on any public appearances. And this ends in exactly 3 months, no extensions. The response came less than a minute later. Done. Can I pick you up for dinner tomorrow night? Somewhere we'll definitely be seen. Bianca closed her eyes and took a deep breath. Fine. But I'm choosing my own outfit. Wouldn't have it any other way. I'll text you the details. Bianca set her phone down and looked around her quiet apartment. In less than 24 hours, her life had gone from ordinary and predictable to completely surreal. What am I doing? She asked the empty room. But deep down, beneath the anxiety and the uncertainty, there was something else. A tiny spark of excitement. A sense that maybe, just maybe, this could be an adventure. Even if it was a completely fake adventure with a billionaire who kissed like a romance novel hero and apparently had been noticing her for over a year. She picked up her phone and called Nicole back. Okay, she said when her friend answered. You're not going to believe what just happened. The next 2 days passed in a blur of phone calls, meetings and growing panic. Logan's publicist, Kim Rodriguez, turned out to be a whirlwind of efficiency and intimidating competence. She'd shown up at Bianca's apartment with a tablet, a schedule, and very specific ideas about how this arrangement was going to work. First things first, Kim had said, settling onto Bianca's couch like she owned it. We need to establish a backstory. How did you meet? How long have you been dating? What are your plans? I thought we met last night at the restaurant, Bianca had said, confused. That's when you went public, Kim corrected. But if you just met, this looks impulsive and fake. We need people to believe you've been dating quietly for a few months, and last night was Logan finally declaring his feelings openly. So they'd crafted a story. They'd met at a charity event 6 months ago. They'd started talking, exchanged numbers, began dating casually. They'd kept it quiet because both valued their privacy. Last night at the restaurant was Logan being spontaneous and romantic, unable to hide his feelings any longer. It was a good story. It was believable. It was also completely fabricated, which made Bianca feel like a fraud every time she had to repeat it. Now, standing outside an exclusive boutique on Saturday afternoon, Bianca was having serious second thoughts. Logan had texted her the address and told her to meet him for a wardrobe consultation. She'd assumed he meant they'd discuss what she should wear to their fake dates. She hadn't expected this. You're here, Logan said, appearing from inside the boutique with a smile. Good. Kim thought you might back out. I'm seriously considering it, Bianca admitted. Logan, I don't need new clothes. I have plenty of perfectly nice outfits. I'm sure you do, Logan said diplomatically. But we're going to be attending some high-profile events. Galas, fundraisers, that kind of thing. Kim thought it would be helpful if you had some options specifically for those occasions. High-profile events, Bianca repeated. How high-profile? Nothing too intimidating, Logan assured her. Just some dinners, charity galas, maybe a tech conference or two. Places where people will see us together and the photos will be good for both our images. A woman emerged from the boutique, elegant in a royal blue dress, her dark hair pulled back in a sleek bun. You must be Bianca. I'm Vanessa Chen, personal stylist. Logan has told me so much about you. He has. Bianca glanced at Logan, who looked suspiciously innocent. Come in, Vanessa said, ushering them inside. I've pulled some pieces I think will be perfect for you. The boutique was the kind of place Bianca had only ever walked past, never daring to go inside. Everything was beautiful, elegant, and probably cost more than her monthly rent. Vanessa had set up a private area in the back with racks of dresses, shoes lined up beneath them, and accessories displayed on a table. Now, Vanessa said, looking Bianca up and down with a professional eye. Logan mentioned you prefer jewel tones. Emerald, sapphire, ruby red. Is that correct? Bianca shot Logan another look. He'd noticed what colors she wore? Yes, she said slowly. Those are my favorites. Perfect. I think we'll start with this. Vanessa pulled out a stunning dress in deep sapphire blue. This would be gorgeous for the charity gala next weekend. Next weekend. Bianca's voice went up an octave. The Children's Hospital fundraiser, Logan said. I'm a major donor. It would look good for me to attend with you. You didn't mention this yesterday, Bianca said. I'm mentioning it now, Logan replied, unrepentant. Try on the dress. Please. An hour later, Bianca had tried on 8 dresses, been fitted for 3 of them, and was currently wearing a gorgeous emerald green evening gown that made her feel like royalty. The color brought out the warm undertones in her brown skin, and the cut was elegant without being too revealing. That's the one, Vanessa said with satisfaction. For the gala. Perfect. Bianca looked at herself in the 3-way mirror and barely recognized her own reflection. She looked expensive. Sophisticated. Like someone who belonged on a billionaire's arm. What do you think? Logan asked, and when Bianca turned, she found him watching her with an expression she couldn't quite read. It's beautiful, she admitted. But Logan, this is too much. How much does all of this cost? Don't worry about it, Logan said. I'm worried about it. I don't want you buying me things. Consider it part of the arrangement, Logan said. You need appropriate clothing for the events we'll be attending together. This is a business expense, not a gift. A business expense, Bianca repeated, not sure how she felt about being categorized as a business expense. That came out wrong, Logan said quickly. I just meant that this benefits both of us. You shouldn't have to pay for clothes you need because of our agreement. He had a point, but it still felt uncomfortable. Bianca had always prided herself on earning her own way, on not depending on anyone. Accepting clothes from Logan felt like crossing a line. How about this? Logan said, reading her discomfort. You pick out what you absolutely need for the events we have scheduled. Nothing more. And after our 3 months are up, you can donate them to a charity if you want. They're not really gifts if you don't keep them. That made Bianca feel slightly better. She nodded and Vanessa beamed, already pulling out other options. 2 hours later, Bianca had several new outfits for upcoming events, all in colors that made her feel confident and comfortable. Logan had disappeared at some point, handling business calls, but he returned as Vanessa was finishing up. All set, he asked. I think so, Bianca said. Thank you for this. Even if it feels weird. You're welcome. Are you hungry? We could grab lunch. They ended up at a quiet cafe a few blocks away, one of those places that looked unassuming from the outside but served incredible food. Logan clearly knew the owner, who greeted him warmly and seated them at a corner table by the window. Do you come here often? Bianca asked, looking around at the cozy space. When I can, Logan said. It's one of the few places I can eat without getting bothered. The owner, Marcus, values his customers' privacy. They ordered, and as they waited for their food, Logan pulled out his phone. I wanted to show you something. Kim put together a preliminary schedule of events for the next 3 months. Nothing is set in stone, but I wanted your input. He handed her his phone and Bianca scrolled through the calendar. Charity galas. Tech conferences. Business dinners. A weekend trip to Miami for a company retreat. It was overwhelming. This is a lot, she said. Too much. I don't know. I have to work, Logan. I can't just take off whenever for these events. What if I talk to your boss? Logan suggested. Explain the situation? Absolutely not, Bianca said firmly. I don't want special treatment at work. People already think I'm dating you for your money. I don't need them thinking I'm using you to get ahead at my job too. Okay, Logan said, holding up his hands. No talking to your boss. But you'll need to take some time off for the bigger events. Can you swing that? I have vacation days saved up, Bianca admitted. I just hate using them for fake dates. They're not all fake, Logan said quietly. Bianca looked up from the phone, meeting his eyes. What? I mean, we're really going to these events. We'll really be spending time together. The only fake part is the romantic relationship. The rest of it is real. Their food arrived before Bianca could respond, which was probably for the best because she had no idea what to say to that. They ate in comfortable silence for a few minutes, and Bianca found herself relaxing despite her anxiety about the whole situation. Can I ask you something? She said finally. Anything. Why do you really want to do this? I get the thing about your father, but there has to be more to it. You could date anyone you wanted for real. Why go through all this trouble for something fake? Logan set down his fork and was quiet for a long moment. Do you know what it's like to never be sure if someone likes you or for what you can give them? No, Bianca admitted. Every relationship I've ever had has been complicated by money, Logan said. Either they knew who I was from the start and I always wondered if they actually cared about me, or they didn't know and once they found out, everything changed. People treat you differently when they know you're rich. They want things from you. They have expectations. That sounds lonely, Bianca said softly. It is, Logan agreed. But you? You asked me to help you escape a bad date. You didn't know who I was. You didn't care about my money. You just needed help and you asked. Do you know how refreshing that was? Bianca felt her heart soften toward him. She'd been so focused on her own embarrassment and anxiety about their arrangement that she hadn't considered what Logan might be getting out of it beyond good publicity. Plus, Logan continued, a smile returning to his face, you're easy to talk to. And you actually listen. That's rarer than you'd think. I work in marketing, Bianca said with a small laugh. Listening is literally part of my job. It's more than that, Logan insisted. You care about people. I saw it at those events where I noticed you. The way you talked to everyone like they mattered. Like their ideas and opinions were valuable. That's not something you can fake. Bianca felt her cheeks warm. You're making me sound like some kind of saint. I promise I'm not. I'm not saying you're a saint. I'm saying you're genuine. And in my world, that's incredibly rare. They finished lunch and walked back toward where Logan's car was parked. The afternoon sun was warm, and the city was busy with weekend shoppers and tourists. For a moment, Bianca could almost pretend this was a normal date with a normal guy. Then someone called out, Logan Prescott? And the moment shattered. A young woman approached them, phone already out. Can I get a photo? And is this your girlfriend? You guys are so cute together. Logan glanced at Bianca and she managed a smile and a nod. This was part of the deal after all. They posed for several photos, answered a few questions about how they met, and graciously accepted congratulations on their relationship. The whole interaction took less than 5 minutes, but when the woman finally walked away, Bianca felt exhausted. "That's going to happen a lot," Logan said apologetically. "Are you sure you're okay with this?" Bianca thought about the youth center. About the kids who would benefit from Logan's donation. About the fact that, despite everything, she was starting to enjoy Logan's company. "I'm okay with it," she said. "It's just going to take some getting used to." "Fair enough." Logan's driver pulled up and he opened the door for her. "Can I drop you home?" "Sure. Thanks." As they drove through the city, Logan's phone buzzed constantly with messages and calls. He handled them efficiently, typing quick responses, occasionally taking a brief call. Bianca watched him work and realized something. Logan Prescott might be a billionaire, but he was also just a person. A person with a job and responsibilities and pressures she couldn't imagine. A person who apparently got lonely and wanted someone to talk to who didn't want something from him. Maybe this arrangement wasn't as one-sided as she'd thought. When they reached her apartment building, Logan walked her to the door. "The gala is next Saturday," he reminded her. "I'll pick you up at 6. Wear the blue dress." "The sapphire one?" "That's the one." "And Bianca." He paused, looking at her with those warm honey-colored eyes. "Thank you for doing this. I know it's not easy." "Thank you for the donation to the youth center," Bianca replied. "That's going to help a lot of kids." "Good. That's what matters." He left, and Bianca went up to her apartment, her mind whirling with thoughts about the upcoming gala, about Logan's loneliness, about how complicated this simple arrangement was already becoming. Her phone buzzed with a text from Nicole. "Spill everything. Now." Bianca smiled and called her best friend. If she was going to survive the next 3 months of fake dating a billionaire, she was definitely going to need someone to talk to about it. And maybe, just maybe, it wouldn't be as terrible as she feared. The week leading up to the charity gala passed in a strange mix of normal work days and surreal moments that reminded Bianca her life had taken a bizarre turn. Logan texted her every day, usually something simple. "How was your day?" or "Thinking about you." She knew it was for show in case anyone ever looked at their message history, but sometimes his messages felt genuine enough to make her heart skip a beat. On Thursday evening, Bianca was working late at the office when her phone rang. It was her mother. "Bianca Marie," Patricia Thompson's voice was stern. "Why did I have to hear about your new boyfriend from Aunt Gloria?" Bianca closed her eyes. She'd been dreading this conversation. "Hi, Mom." "Don't hi Mom me. Aunt Gloria sends me a video of you kissing some man in a fancy restaurant, and when I call her, she tells me he's a billionaire." "A billionaire, Bianca? And you didn't think to mention this to your own mother?" "It all happened very fast," Bianca said, which was technically true. "I was going to tell you." "Well, you can tell me in person. I'm inviting him to Sunday dinner. This weekend. And before you make excuses, I already texted him and he said yes." Bianca's heart stopped. "You texted Logan? Mom, how did you get his number?" "He put it in his Instagram bio, didn't he? Along with, 'So blessed to be with the love of my life.'" "Very sweet. So Sunday dinner. 5 o'clock. Don't be late." The call ended before Bianca could protest. She immediately texted Logan, "Did my mother really invite you to Sunday dinner?" His response came quickly, "Yes. I thought it would be weird to say no. Is that okay? Do I have a choice?" "Not really. But I promise I'll be on my best behavior." Bianca dropped her head onto her desk. Sunday dinner at her mother's house meant her entire family would be there. Her mother, her sister Denise, her brother Jordan, probably some aunts and cousins. All of them would have questions. All of them would be judging Logan and her relationship with him. This was going to be a disaster. Saturday's charity gala was elegant and overwhelming in equal measure. Bianca wore the sapphire blue dress, and Logan wore a perfectly tailored black tuxedo that made him look like he'd stepped out of a magazine. His car picked her up exactly at 6, and when Logan saw her, his expression made her glad she'd spent an extra hour getting ready. "You look beautiful," he said simply. "Thank you. You clean up pretty well yourself." The gala was held at one of the city's most prestigious hotels, in a ballroom that dripped with chandeliers and elegance. Everywhere Bianca looked, she saw people in designer clothes, carrying expensive handbags, wearing jewelry that probably cost more than her car. "Relax," Logan murmured as they walked in together, his hand warm on the small of her back. "You belong here just as much as anyone else." "That's easy for you to say," Bianca whispered back. "You're actually rich." "Rich doesn't mean better," Logan said firmly. "Remember that." They made their way through the crowd and Logan introduced her to what felt like hundreds of people. Business partners. Fellow philanthropists. Society figures whose names Bianca recognized from magazines. Everyone was polite, everyone was curious about her, and everyone seemed to accept that she was Logan's girlfriend without question. Kim had been right. The backstory worked. Logan, a woman's voice called out, and they turned to see an elegant older woman in a burgundy gown approaching them. How wonderful to see you here. Mrs. Harrison, Logan said warmly, kissing her cheek. You look lovely. Please let me introduce my girlfriend, Bianca Thompson. Bianca, this is Elizabeth Harrison. She's been the driving force behind the Children's Hospital charity for 20 years. It's wonderful to meet you, Bianca said, shaking her hand. And you, dear. Logan, I understand you've increased your donation this year? I have, Logan confirmed. The hospital does incredible work. I'm happy to support it. We're grateful, Mrs. Harrison said. And it's lovely to see you with someone so charming. You'll both sit at our table for dinner, I hope? They did, and Bianca found herself at a table with some of the city's most influential philanthropists. The conversation ranged from the hospital's recent expansions to broader discussions about healthcare access and education funding. Bianca, drawing on her marketing experience, found herself contributing ideas about outreach programs and community engagement. You have a good head on your shoulders, Mrs. Harrison said approvingly. Logan, you found a keeper. Logan smiled and took Bianca's hand. I know. The gesture was for show, Bianca reminded herself. But his thumb brushing across her knuckles felt very real. After dinner there was dancing. Logan led her onto the dance floor, and Bianca was grateful for the ballroom dance classes she'd taken in college. They moved together smoothly, and Bianca was acutely aware of Logan's hand on her waist, the way he looked at her like she was the only person in the room. You're a good dancer, she said. So are you? Where did you learn? College elective. I needed the credit. You. My mother insisted I learn, Logan said, and something in his voice softened. She said every gentleman should know how to dance. She died when I was 16, but I still remember her teaching me in our living room. I'm sorry, Bianca said softly. That must have been hard. It was. Still is sometimes. She would have liked you. How do you know? Because you're kind. She always valued kindness above everything else. Logan pulled her slightly closer. She used to say that money could buy a lot of things but it couldn't buy character. She was right. They danced in silence for a moment, and Bianca found herself relaxing into his embrace. This didn't feel fake. It felt comfortable. Natural. Like they'd been doing this for years instead of days. Logan, someone called and they separated as another couple approached. More introductions, more small talk, more performance of their relationship for an audience that believed every moment of it. By the time Logan's car dropped her home at 11, Bianca was exhausted but exhilarated. The evening had been successful. No one had questioned their relationship. She'd made good impressions. And Logan had been attentive and charming all evening, playing his part perfectly. Thank you for tonight, she said as they stood outside her building. You were a good fake boyfriend. Thanks for being a good fake girlfriend, Logan replied with a smile. See you Sunday for the family dinner? Unfortunately, yes. Be prepared. My family is going to grill you. I can handle it, Logan assured her. Get some rest. Sunday arrived too quickly. Bianca spent the morning anxiously cleaning her apartment and changing her outfit 3 times before settling on red jeans and a white blouse. Casual enough for family dinner, nice enough to show she'd made an effort. Logan picked her up at 4:30 so they could drive to her mother's house together. He was dressed casually too, in dark jeans and a gray button-down shirt that somehow looked both expensive and approachable. Ready for this? He asked. Not even a little bit, Bianca admitted. Her mother's house was in a modest neighborhood about 30 minutes from the city. It was the house Bianca had grown up in, full of memories and love and the smell of her mother's cooking. Several cars were already parked outside, which meant the whole family was indeed there. Remember, Bianca said as they walked to the front door, my sister Denise is protective and will probably be suspicious. My brother Jordan will ask you about tech stuff. My mother will ask extremely personal questions and won't see anything wrong with it. And various aunts and cousins will be evaluating everything about you. Got it? Logan said, looking amused rather than nervous. Anything else? Just be yourself. My family doesn't care about money. They care about character. Like my mother, Logan said softly, squeezing her hand. The door flew open before they could knock and Jordan stood there grinning. You must be Logan. Come in, come in. Do you really own Prescott Technologies? Because I've been using your cloud platform for my computer science projects and it's incredible. Jordan, Bianca groaned. Let him in the door first. Inside, the house was warm and filled with the sounds of family. Bianca's mother emerged from the kitchen, wiping her hands on her apron. Patricia Thompson was in her late 50s, with the same warm brown skin as Bianca and eyes that missed nothing. So you're the famous Logan, she said, looking him up and down. The one who made a scene in a restaurant. Mom, Bianca protested. I'm just stating facts, Patricia said, but she smiled. Come here and give me a hug. Anyone important to my daughter is important to me. Logan accepted the hug graciously, and Bianca saw him relax slightly. Her mother had that effect on people. She was direct but warm, tough but loving. Denise appeared next, Bianca's older sister by 3 years. She was taller than Bianca, her hair cut in a stylish short style, wearing a green sweater and jeans. She looked Logan over with undisguised suspicion. So you're dating my little sister, she said flatly. I am, Logan confirmed. Why? Denise, Patricia scolded, but Denise ignored her. It's a fair question. You're a billionaire. You could date anyone. So why Bianca? Because she's smart, funny, kind, and makes me want to be better, Logan said without hesitation. Because when I'm with her, I'm not Logan Prescott the businessman. I'm just Logan. That's rare. That's valuable. That's why. Denise studied him for another long moment, then nodded once. Okay. But I'm watching you. I'd expect nothing less from a protective older sister, Logan said, and Denise's stern expression cracked into a reluctant smile. Dinner was a chaotic, warm affair. The table was crowded with Bianca's immediate family plus 2 aunts and 3 cousins. Food was passed around family style and everyone talked at once, sharing stories and jokes and catching up on each other's lives. Logan fit in surprisingly well. He answered Jordan's endless questions about technology with patience and genuine interest. He complimented Patricia's cooking effusively and asked for the recipe. He traded stories with Denise about difficult clients and demanding bosses. He listened to Aunt Gloria's advice about relationships with a straight face, even when she got wildly inappropriate. And he held Bianca's hand under the table, his thumb tracing small circles on her palm that made it hard to concentrate on the conversation. After dinner, as Bianca helped her mother clear dishes in the kitchen, Patricia said quietly, "He's good for you." "You think so?" "I can see it in the way he looks at you. And the way you look at him. Like you're both surprised and happy at the same time." Bianca felt a pang of guilt. If her mother knew the truth, knew this was all an arrangement, she'd be disappointed. But she couldn't tell her. The lie had to be maintained. "He makes me happy," Bianca said, which was technically true. Logan did make her happy, even if their relationship wasn't real. In the living room, Logan was deep in conversation with Jordan about college plans. When Jordan mentioned not being sure how he'd afford his top-choice school, Logan said casually, "What if I helped with that?" "What?" Jordan's eyes widened. "I have a scholarship program through my company," Logan explained, "for students pursuing degrees in technology and sciences. If you're interested, I could make sure your application gets serious consideration." "That would be amazing," Jordan breathed. "But that's too much. I couldn't accept that." "Why not?" Logan asked genuinely. "You're clearly passionate about technology. You're working hard. Why shouldn't you get support to pursue your dreams?" "Because it's a lot of money," Jordan said. "And you barely know me." "I know you're Bianca's brother," Logan said. "That's enough for me. Let me help. Please." Bianca, standing in the doorway, felt tears prick her eyes. Logan didn't have to do this. Jordan's education wasn't part of their agreement. But he was offering anyway, generously and without hesitation. "Okay," Jordan said, his voice thick with emotion. "Thank you. Seriously, thank you so much." "You're welcome." By the time they left, the sun was setting and Bianca's cheeks hurt from smiling. Her family had loved Logan. He charmed every single one of them, not with money or gifts, but with genuine interest and kindness. "That went well," Logan said as they drove back to the city. "You didn't have to offer to help with Jordan's college," Bianca said quietly. "I wanted to. He's a smart kid with big dreams. Why shouldn't I help make those dreams possible?" "Because you don't owe us anything." "It's not about owing," Logan said. "It's about being able to help and choosing to do it. I have resources. Why not use them to make a difference in someone's life?" Bianca looked at him in the darkening car, this billionaire who had crashed into her life in the most ridiculous way possible, and felt something shift in her chest. This wasn't just an arrangement anymore. This was becoming something more complicated. Something real. And that terrified her. The invitation to Miami came a week after the family dinner. Logan had texted Bianca during her lunch break. "I have a business trip to Miami next weekend. 3 days. I'd like you to come with me. Separate rooms, professional appearance only. What do you think?" Bianca stared at her phone, torn between excitement and anxiety. Miami. 3 days away from her normal life, pretending to be Logan's girlfriend in a new city. It felt like taking their arrangement to a new level. "I'd have to use vacation days," she texted back. "I'll make it worth your time. Bring your laptop. You can work from the hotel when I'm in meetings." "Separate rooms?" "Absolutely. Unless you want to share a room, but I assumed you'd prefer privacy." "Separate is good." "Great. I'll have Kim send you the itinerary." That was how Bianca found herself boarding a private plane the following Friday afternoon. She'd never been on a private plane before. She'd barely been on regular planes. But Logan acted like this was completely normal, settling into his seat and pulling out his laptop to work as if they were just on a bus. The flight was smooth, and they landed in Miami as the sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. A car was waiting to take them to their hotel, a luxury resort right on the beach. "Your rooms are ready, Mr. Prescott," the front desk manager said, handing over key cards. "The penthouse suite and the adjoining executive suite as requested." "Adjoining?" Bianca questioned as they rode the elevator up to the top floor. "Just in case you needed anything," Logan said. "But there's a connecting door that locks from both sides. You'll have complete privacy." Her suite was beautiful, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the ocean, a king-size bed, and a bathroom bigger than her bedroom at home. Through the connecting door, she could hear Logan moving around in his own suite. "Bianca?" he called through the door. "Want to grab dinner? There's a great restaurant downstairs." They ate at a table by the window, watching the waves roll in as the sky darkened. The restaurant was upscale but relaxed, and Bianca felt herself unwinding. Being away from the city, from their normal routine, felt like a mini vacation even though she knew Logan had work obligations. "What exactly are you doing in Miami?" she asked. "Meeting with potential investors for a new project," Logan explained. "We're developing technology to provide affordable internet access to underserved communities. A lot of the country still doesn't have reliable internet, especially in rural areas and low-income neighborhoods. We want to change that." Bianca set down her fork, genuinely impressed. "That's amazing. How does it work?" Logan's face lit up as he explained the technical details. How they were using a combination of existing infrastructure and new technology to lower costs. How they'd partnered with local organizations to identify areas of need. How the goal was to provide not just access but also training and support to help people make the most of being connected. "Internet access isn't just about entertainment," Logan said passionately. "It's about education, job opportunities, accessing healthcare, staying connected to family. It's essential and everyone deserves to have it." "This is what you're passionate about," Bianca observed. "Not just making money. Actually making a difference." "Money is useful," Logan said. "But only if you do something meaningful with it. My mother used to say that having resources was a responsibility, not just a privilege. This project feels like honoring that." They talked long after they'd finished eating, moving from business to personal topics. Logan asked about her work, really listening as she described the campaign she was developing. When she mentioned wanting to do more nonprofit marketing, he asked thoughtful questions about what that would look like. "Have you ever thought about starting your own consulting business?" he asked. "Focusing specifically on helping nonprofits with their marketing?" "I've thought about it," Bianca admitted. "But it's risky. What if I can't find enough clients? What if I fail? What if you succeed?" Logan countered. "You're talented, Bianca. Really talented. You could build something great." "Maybe someday," Bianca said, though the idea planted a seed in her mind. The next day, Logan was in meetings most of the day. Bianca worked from the hotel, catching up on projects and enjoying the change of scenery. In the late afternoon, Logan texted her, "Meeting's done early. Want to walk on the beach?" They met in the lobby, both having changed into casual clothes. The beach was busy with tourists and locals, but once they walked a bit further from the hotel, it quieted down. The sand was warm under Bianca's bare feet, and the ocean breeze felt wonderful after the air-conditioned hotel. "How did the meetings go?" she asked. "Really well. I think we're going to secure the funding we need." Logan picked up a shell and examined it before handing it to Bianca. "The investors were impressed with the business plan. And several of them asked about you. About me? They saw the photos from the charity gala. Everyone's curious about the woman who finally got Logan Prescott to settle down. He said it lightly, but there was something in his tone that made Bianca look at him carefully. Does it bother you? People being so interested in your personal life? Yes and no, Logan said thoughtfully. It's invasive and annoying. But it's also part of the reality of my life. I've learned to accept it. What I don't like is when people make assumptions or spread rumors. I'd rather control the narrative than let it control me. Is that what I am? Bianca asked. A way to control the narrative? Logan stopped walking and turned to face her. At first, maybe that was part of it. But now, no. You're more than that. What am I then? You're someone I enjoy spending time with, Logan said simply. Someone I look forward to talking to. Someone who makes me laugh and challenges me to think differently. You're my friend, Bianca. Friend. The word should have felt reassuring. Safe. Instead, Bianca felt a small pang of disappointment that she immediately tried to ignore. You're my friend too, she said, hoping her voice sounded normal. They walked further down the beach talking about everything and nothing. Logan told her about growing up with pressure to succeed, about his difficult relationship with his father, about how lonely it could be at the top. Bianca shared her own struggles, feeling like she was never doing enough, worrying about money, wanting to make her family proud. You already make them proud, Logan said. Your mother told me so. She said you're the strongest person she knows. She said that? At dinner. When you and Denise were arguing about dessert. She pulled me aside and said that you'd been taking care of yourself since you were young, always helping others, always working hard. She said she worries that you don't let people help you enough. Bianca felt tears prick her eyes. Her mother was right. She'd been independent for so long that accepting help felt like weakness. I'm working on that, she said quietly. Good. Because I'd like to help you. With whatever you need. Why? Bianca asked. Why do you care so much? Logan was quiet for a long moment, staring out at the ocean. Because you're one of the few people who sees me as just Logan, not Logan Prescott the billionaire. You talk to me like I'm normal. You call me out when I'm being ridiculous. You make me feel like a person, not a brand. That's rare. That's valuable. And I don't want to lose it. They stood there on the beach as the sun began to set, turning the sky brilliant shades of pink and orange and purple. Bianca was acutely aware of how close they were standing, of the way Logan was looking at her, of the fact that they were alone with no one watching, no one performing for. This moment was real. Logan, she started, not sure what she was going to say. His phone rang, shattering the moment. He pulled it out with an apologetic look. I'm sorry. It's my assistant. I have to take this. While Logan talked, Bianca walked down to the water's edge, letting the waves lap at her feet. She was in trouble. She was developing feelings for Logan that went beyond their arrangement. Feelings that complicated everything. When he rejoined her, the moment had passed. They walked back to the hotel making small talk about dinner plans and the next day's schedule. Professional. Friendly. Exactly what they were supposed to be. That night, lying in her luxurious hotel bed, Bianca stared at the ceiling and tried to sort through her emotions. She liked Logan. Really liked him. But their relationship had an expiration date. In less than 2 months they would stage a breakup and go their separate ways. Getting attached would only lead to heartbreak. She needed to protect her heart. She needed to remember that this was an arrangement, not a relationship. No matter how real it sometimes felt. A soft knock on the connecting door made her sit up. Bianca? Are you awake? Yeah, she called back. Can't sleep either? No. Want to watch a movie or something? I'm going crazy in here with nothing to do. Bianca hesitated, then got up and unlocked her side of the door. Logan stood there in pajama pants and a t-shirt, looking more relaxed than she'd ever seen him. What did you have in mind? She asked. I noticed there's a list of classic movies on the TV. We could make fun of them. Or actually watch them. Whatever. They ended up watching an old romantic comedy, sitting on Logan's couch with a bowl of popcorn between them. Logan provided running commentary that had Bianca laughing until her sides hurt. By the time the movie ended, it was past midnight and they were both exhausted. Thanks for this, Bianca said as she stood to head back to her room. I needed the distraction. Anytime, Logan said. Bianca. Yeah. I meant what I said earlier. You're important to me. I hope you know that. Bianca nodded, not trusting herself to speak. She went back to her room and locked the door, leaning against it with her heart pounding. She was definitely in trouble. The following week back home, Bianca was walking out of her office building when a familiar voice called her name. Bianca? Wow, it really is you. She turned and felt her stomach drop. Trevor Montgomery stood on the sidewalk, looking exactly as he had when they dated 2 years ago. Handsome in a conventional way with perfect hair and an expensive suit. He'd been her boyfriend for 8 months before she caught him texting another woman and ended things. Trevor, she said flatly. What are you doing here? I work in the building next door now, he said, gesturing vaguely. Started last month. I've been hoping I'd run into you. Why? Because I wanted to apologize. Trevor stepped closer and Bianca resisted the urge to step back. For how things ended between us. I was young and stupid. I made mistakes. Okay. Apology accepted. Have a good day. She started to walk away but Trevor followed her. Wait, can we talk? Maybe grab coffee? I've really missed you, Bianca. I'm seeing someone, Bianca said firmly. Right. The billionaire. Trevor's expression turned skeptical. I saw the videos. Pretty convenient, isn't it? You just happen to run into a billionaire at a restaurant and suddenly you're in a relationship. It's not convenient. It's real. Is it? Trevor moved to block her path. Because it looks like a publicity stunt to me. Come on, Bianca. You're smarter than this. Guys like that don't date girls like us. He's using you for good PR and you're getting what? Fancy dinners? Nice clothes? Is that really worth pretending to be someone you're not? Girls like us. Bianca repeated, anger flaring. What does that mean? You know what I mean. Regular people. Middle class. We're not in their world. And trying to be never works out. I'm not trying to be anyone except myself, Bianca said coldly. And Logan appreciates me for exactly who I am. Which is more than you ever did. I appreciated you, Trevor protested. I cared about you. You cheated on me. Once. One mistake. And I've regretted it every day since. Trevor tried to take her hand but Bianca pulled away. We were good together, Bianca. We understood each other. This thing with the billionaire is going to crash and burn, and when it does I'll be here. Someone who actually knows you. Someone from your world. This conversation is over, Bianca said, finally managing to step around him. Don't contact me again. She walked quickly toward the subway station, her heart pounding with anger and residual hurt. Trevor had always been good at making her doubt herself, at making her feel like she wasn't good enough. That's why she'd stayed with him even when she'd known something was wrong. Her phone rang. It was Logan. Hey, she answered, trying to keep her voice steady. I'm around the corner from your office. Want to grab dinner? Bianca looked back toward her building and saw Trevor still standing there, watching her. An idea formed. Actually, yes. Where are you exactly? The corner of 5th and Main. Why? Stay there. I'll come to you. She walked back past her office building, making sure Trevor saw her. Then she headed toward where Logan was waiting. She spotted him leaning against his car, scrolling through his phone, and felt a rush of genuine warmth. Logan, she called, and he looked up with a smile. Hey, that was fast. Then his expression changed as he saw her face. What's wrong? My ex-boyfriend is here, Bianca said quietly. He's watching us right now. Can you just act like you're happy to see me? Logan's expression hardened for a moment, then smoothed into something warmer. He pulled Bianca into a hug and she relaxed into it, breathing in his familiar cologne. Where is he? Logan murmured into her hair. Back by my building. Gray suit. Smug expression. Want me to talk to him? No. Just make it clear that we're together. Logan pulled back and cupped Bianca's face in his hands, looking at her with such tenderness that for a moment she forgot they were performing. You okay? I am now. He kissed her forehead, and Bianca saw Trevor turn and walk away out of the corner of her eye. He's leaving, she said. Thank you. Who was that guy? Logan asked, his hands still framing her face. Trevor. We dated a couple of years ago. He cheated, I ended it, and apparently now he thinks he can just apologize and I'll take him back. Do you want to take him back? Absolutely not, Bianca said firmly. He's manipulative and condescending and made me feel small. I'm way better off without him. Good, Logan said. Then after a pause, did he say something that upset you? Bianca hesitated, then decided to be honest. He said you're using me for publicity and that guys like you don't date girls like me for real. Logan's jaw tightened. That's bullshit. Is it? Yes. Logan's voice was intense. First of all, you're not a girl. You're a woman. An intelligent, accomplished, amazing woman. Second, I'm not using you. This arrangement was mutual and we both benefit. And third, the idea that I'm somehow out of your league is backwards. You're out of mine. I'm pretty sure the billionaire is out of my league, not the other way around. Money doesn't determine worth, Logan said firmly. You have more integrity and kindness in your little finger than most people I know have in their entire body. Any man would be lucky to be with you for real. Including me. Bianca felt tears threaten and blinked them back. Thank you for saying that. I'm not just saying it. I mean it. Logan finally dropped his hands and stepped back. Come on. Let's get dinner. And you can tell me all about why this Trevor guy is an idiot. Over dinner at a quiet Italian restaurant, Bianca found herself telling Logan the whole story. How she and Trevor had met at a friend's party. How he'd seemed great at first, attentive and romantic. How gradually she'd noticed him dismissing her opinions, making little comments about her job or her appearance, comparing her to other women. He made me feel like I should be grateful he was dating me, Bianca said, pushing pasta around her plate. Like I wasn't quite good enough, but he was willing to overlook my flaws. When I caught him texting another woman, part of me wasn't even surprised. I figured he'd found someone better. That's not okay, Logan said quietly. None of that is okay. You should never feel grateful that someone deigns to date you. Any relationship should be about mutual respect and both people feeling lucky to be together. Is that how you feel in relationships? Bianca asked curiously. Logan was quiet for a moment. In theory, yes. In practice, I've never really had a relationship like that. Most of my relationships have been superficial. People who wanted to date Logan Prescott the brand, not Logan the person. I learned pretty quickly to keep my guard up. That sounds lonely. It is. But this, what we have, it's different. Even though it's fake, it feels more real than most of my actual relationships have been. Bianca met his eyes across the table. It doesn't always feel fake to me either. The admission hung between them, heavy with implications. Logan reached across the table and took her hand. Maybe that's not a bad thing, he said softly. Before Bianca could respond, his phone rang. He glanced at it and sighed. I'm sorry. It's my father. I have to take this. He stepped away from the table, and Bianca watched him through the window as he paced outside, clearly having an intense conversation. When he came back, he looked frustrated. Everything okay? She asked. My father wants me to come to a family dinner next week. He wants to meet you. Is that a problem? My father is very traditional. Very judgmental. He's going to ask invasive questions and probably say things that are inappropriate. I can tell him no if you'd rather not deal with it. No, Bianca said, making a decision. I'll go. You met my family. Fair is fair. You don't have to. My family is nothing like yours. There's no warmth there, no real love. It's all about appearances and expectations. Then I'll help you deal with the appearances and expectations, Bianca said firmly. That's what girlfriends do, right? Even fake ones. Logan smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Thank you. Fair warning though. It's not going to be fun. After dinner, Logan walked Bianca to her apartment. They stood outside her building, and Bianca found herself not wanting the evening to end. Thank you for showing up today, she said. With Trevor. You didn't have to do that. Yes, I did. No one gets to make you feel small. Especially not some idiot ex who didn't appreciate what he had. Logan? Yeah. The things you said earlier. About me being out of your league. Did you mean that? Every word, Logan said seriously. You're incredible, Bianca. Don't let anyone make you think otherwise. He left before she could respond, and Bianca went up to her apartment with her heart racing. The lines between fake and real were blurring more every day, and she was powerless to stop it. Later that night, as she was getting ready for bed, her phone buzzed with a text from Logan. I'm really glad you're my fake girlfriend. She typed back, I'm glad you're my fake boyfriend. A pause, then, what if we weren't fake? Bianca stared at the message, her heart pounding. Before she could respond, another message came through. Sorry. Ignore that. I'm tired. See you later this week. But Bianca couldn't ignore it. The question lingered in her mind as she tried to fall asleep. What if they weren't fake? What would that look like? Could it even work? And most importantly, was she brave enough to find out? So, Trevor thinks Bianca is being used. Logan's father wants to meet her. And real feelings are starting to mess up their fake relationship. This is getting complicated, and you won't believe what happens when billionaires and real emotions collide. Drop a comment with your thoughts and don't forget to subscribe because the drama is just getting started. The dinner with Logan's father was scheduled for Tuesday evening at an exclusive restaurant Bianca had never heard of. Logan picked her up looking tense, his jaw tight and his shoulders rigid in his charcoal suit. "You look terrified," Bianca said as she got in the car. "I'm not terrified. Just preparing myself." Logan glanced at her and his expression softened. "You look beautiful. Red is definitely your color." Bianca smoothed down her burgundy dress. Kim had insisted she needed something sophisticated for meeting Richard Prescott, and together they'd chosen this elegant, professional dress that made Bianca feel confident. "What should I know about your father before we get there?" she asked. "He's going to try to intimidate you," Logan said bluntly. "Ask pointed questions about your background, your family, your intentions. He'll probably bring up money at some point. Just be yourself. Don't let him make you feel small." The restaurant was the kind of place where Bianca felt out of place just walking through the door. Everything was pristine and expensive, from the artwork on the walls to the polished marble floors. They were led to a private room where a man sat alone at a table, reading something on his phone. Richard Prescott looked like an older, harder version of Logan. Same sharp features, same tall build, but where Logan's eyes were warm, his father's were cold and assessing. "Logan," he said, standing. "You're late." "By 3 minutes," Logan replied evenly. "Dad, this is Bianca Thompson." "Bianca, my father, Richard Prescott." "It's nice to meet you, Mr. Prescott," Bianca said, extending her hand. Richard shook it briefly, his grip firm. "Bianca, I've heard a lot about you. Please sit." Dinner was tense from the start. Richard ordered for the table without asking what anyone wanted. He asked Bianca questions that felt more like an interrogation than conversation. Where did she grow up? Where did she go to school? What did her parents do for a living? "My father was a postal worker," Bianca said clearly. "He passed away when I was 15. My mother is a nurse." "I see. And your education?" "State University. Bachelor's degree in marketing and communications." "State school." Richard's tone made it sound like a criticism. "And you work in marketing?" "Yes, sir. I'm a marketing coordinator at Henderson and Associates. We focus on nonprofit clients." "Nonprofit marketing. That must be challenging financially." Bianca felt Logan tense beside her. She put a hand on his knee under the table, a silent message to let her handle this. "It has its challenges," she said calmly. "But it's rewarding work. I believe in the causes I help promote." "Very noble," Richard said, but there was no warmth in his tone. "Tell me, how did you and Logan really meet? The restaurant story seems awfully convenient." "Dad," Logan warned. "It's fine," Bianca said. She launched into the backstory they'd created, about meeting at a charity event, about keeping their relationship quiet at first. She spoke confidently, meeting Richard's skeptical gaze without flinching. "So you're saying this isn't a publicity stunt?" Richard asked when she finished. "Why would it be?" Bianca countered. "What would I gain from that?" "Exposure. Access to wealth. A lifestyle you couldn't otherwise afford." "I can afford my own lifestyle just fine," Bianca said, her voice firm. "I don't need Logan's money. I have my own job, my own apartment, my own life." "But surely you enjoy the perks," Richard pressed. "The nice dinners, the events, the clothes." "Dad, that's enough," Logan said, his voice hard. "I'm just trying to understand her intentions," Richard said. "You're my son. You have significant resources. I have a responsibility to make sure you're not being taken advantage of." "I'm not being taken advantage of," Logan said. "Bianca is with me because she wants to be, not because of my bank account. Unlike most people in my life, she actually values me as a person." "That's a lovely sentiment," Richard said dismissively. "But sentiment doesn't build empires. You need to be strategic about your relationships, Logan." "This girl?" "Woman," both Logan and Bianca corrected simultaneously. "This woman," Richard continued, irritation flickering across his face, "is she really the image you want to project? Someone from a modest background with no connections, no family wealth, no real understanding of the business world." "Stop," Logan said, his voice cold. "This dinner is over. Bianca, let's go." "Logan, sit down," Richard ordered. "We're not finished." "Yes, we are." Logan stood and Bianca followed his lead. "I'm not going to sit here and let you insult Bianca. She's kind, intelligent, accomplished, and makes me happy. That should be enough for you. The fact that it's not says more about you than it does about her." "You're being foolish," Richard said. "This will end badly." "Then I'll deal with it," Logan replied. "Let's go, Bianca." They left the restaurant in tense silence. Logan's driver was waiting and they got in the car without speaking. Bianca could feel the anger radiating off Logan in waves. "I'm sorry," he said finally. I'm so sorry you had to deal with that. It's okay, Bianca said, though she felt shaken. He's protective. I get it. He's not protective. He's controlling. Logan ran his hands through his hair. He's always been like this. Nothing I do is ever good enough. No one I date is ever acceptable. He wants me to marry someone from the right family, with the right connections, who can help expand the business. As if I'm some kind of transaction instead of his son. Bianca took his hand. That must be exhausting. It is. And the worst part is he's going to make our lives difficult now. He'll probably try to discredit you, spread rumors, maybe even offer you money to leave me alone. He wouldn't do that. Logan laughed bitterly. He absolutely would. He's done it before with other women I've dated. If he thinks you're after my money, he'll try to prove it by offering you a payout to disappear. Well, he's going to be disappointed, Bianca said firmly. Because I'm not going anywhere. Not until our 3 months are up anyway. Logan looked at her, and something shifted in his expression. Right. Our arrangement. There was an awkward silence. The 3-month mark was approaching quickly. In just over a month they would stage their breakup and go back to being strangers. Bianca had tried not to think about it, but now it loomed large in her mind. About that text I sent the other night, Logan said quietly. The one where I asked what if we weren't fake. Bianca's heart started pounding. Logan. I know the timing is complicated. I know we have an agreement. But Bianca, somewhere along the way this stopped being fake for me. You stopped being fake for me? Logan, we can't do this. Why not? Because it's messy and complicated, and what if it doesn't work? We'd have to see each other at events and it would be awkward and painful, and I just... Bianca trailed off, unable to put her swirling emotions into words. What if it does work? Logan asked. What if we're good together? What if this is the beginning of something real? Bianca wanted to say yes. She wanted to throw caution aside and admit that she developed real feelings for him. But fear held her back. Fear of getting hurt. Fear of not being enough. Fear of this all being some kind of elaborate mistake. I need time to think, she said finally. Logan nodded, disappointment flickering across his face. Okay. Take all the time you need. The rest of the drive was silent. When they reached Bianca's apartment, Logan walked her to the door like always, but there was a distance between them that hadn't been there before. Good night, Bianca said. Good night. Logan hesitated, then said, For what it's worth, my father was wrong. You're not a convenience or a publicity stunt. You're extraordinary. And any man would be lucky to be with you for real. He left before Bianca could respond, and she went up to her apartment feeling more confused than ever. She called Nicole immediately. He wants to make it real, she said as soon as her friend answered. Logan wants to actually date. For real. That's great, Nicole said. Right? That is great. I don't know. Is it? What if I'm just convenient? What if once the excitement wears off, he realizes I'm not interesting enough or sophisticated enough or whatever enough? Bianca Thompson, Nicole said firmly. Stop. You are enough. More than enough. If Logan Prescott wants to date you for real, it's because he sees how amazing you are. The question is, do you want to date him? Yes, Bianca admitted. But I'm scared. Of course you're scared. Relationships are scary. But they're also wonderful. Don't let fear keep you from something that could be great. After they hung up, Bianca sat on her couch and really thought about what she wanted. Logan made her happy. He challenged her. He supported her. He made her feel valued and respected. And yes, he was a billionaire, which was overwhelming, but he was also just Logan. The man who made terrible jokes during movies. Who remembered how she took her coffee. Who stood up to his father to defend her. She pulled out her phone and opened her messages with Logan. She stared at the screen for a long moment, then started typing. I've been thinking about what you said. And about what I want. Can we talk? In person? The response came almost immediately. Yes. When? Tomorrow? After work? I'll pick you up. There's somewhere I want to show you. Bianca set her phone down and took a deep breath. Tomorrow she would tell Logan the truth. That she'd developed real feelings. That she wanted to try this for real. That she was terrified but willing to take the chance. Tomorrow everything would change. Logan picked Bianca up the next evening in his car, but instead of heading to a restaurant or his apartment, they drove out of the city. Bianca watched the buildings give way to suburbs and then to more open spaces, curious about where they were going. Are you kidnapping me? She joked. Something like that, Logan said with a small smile. I want to show you something. Something I don't show most people. They drove for about 45 minutes before turning onto a long private driveway. At the end sat a house, not a mansion but a comfortable-looking home with a wraparound porch and gardens that looked slightly overgrown. "This is where I grew up," Logan said as he parked. "My mother's house. She left it to me when she died and I haven't been able to sell it. I come here sometimes when I need to think." They got out of the car and Logan led her to the porch. They sat on the steps, looking out at the garden as the sun began to set. "I brought you here because I wanted you to understand something," Logan said. "This house, these memories, they're the most real part of my life. Everything else, the company, the money, the public image, that all came later. But this is who I actually am. The kid who grew up here, whose mom taught him to garden and dance and value kindness above everything else." "Why are you telling me this?" Bianca asked gently. "Because I want you to know that when I say my feelings for you are real, I mean it. I'm not Logan Prescott the billionaire right now. I'm just Logan. The person under all the rest of it. And that person has feelings for you that are genuine and scary and completely unexpected." Bianca felt tears prick her eyes. "Logan, let me finish. Please." He took her hand. "You asked me yesterday what would happen if this didn't work. And yes, that's a risk. But Bianca, I think the bigger risk is not trying. Not seeing where this could go. I haven't felt this way about anyone in my life. And I think maybe you feel something similar." "I do," Bianca admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "I'm terrified, but I do." "So let's be terrified together," Logan said. "Let's take this fake relationship and make it real. No expiration date. No arrangement. Just two people who like each other seeing where things go." Bianca looked at this man who had crashed into her life in the most absurd way possible. Who had made a scene in a restaurant that mortified her. Who had somehow become one of the most important people in her life in just a few short weeks. "Okay," she said. "Let's make it real." Logan's face lit up with a smile that was pure joy. He cupped her face in his hands and kissed her, soft and sweet and full of promise. This kiss was different from the one in the restaurant. That had been performance. This was real. When they pulled apart, they were both smiling. "So what now?" Bianca asked. "Now we go back to the city and I take you to dinner," Logan said. "A real first date. Not a fake one. We've already been on like 10 dates. Those don't count. They were fake. This is our actual first date." They drove back to the city talking and laughing, the tension from the past few days melting away. Logan took her to a small restaurant in her neighborhood. Nothing fancy or expensive, just good food and comfortable atmosphere. "This is nice," Bianca said, looking around. "How did you find this place?" "I researched restaurants near your apartment," Logan admitted. "I wanted to know your neighborhood better. This place had great reviews." "You researched my neighborhood?" "I wanted to understand your world. The places you like. The life you've built. Is that weird?" "It's sweet," Bianca said, feeling warmth spread through her chest. Over dinner they talked about what a real relationship between them would look like. They agreed to take things slow, to be honest with each other, to navigate the challenges of their different lifestyles together. "I don't want you to feel like you have to change," Logan said. "Or like you have to fit into my world. I want to fit into yours too." "I appreciate that. But Logan, your world is kind of unavoidable. The events, the publicity, your father. That's all part of being with you." "I know. And I promise I'll try to shield you from the worst of it. But I can't promise it'll be easy." "I don't need easy," Bianca said. "I just need honest. I can do honest." After dinner they walked through Bianca's neighborhood. Logan was fascinated by everything. The corner store where she bought groceries, the library where she sometimes worked on weekends, the small park where she liked to read. "You have a good life here," he observed. "It's quiet and comfortable. I can see why you like it." "It's home," Bianca said simply. "Nothing fancy, but it's mine." They ended up back at her apartment building, standing outside in the warm evening air. Bianca didn't want the night to end, but she also wanted to savor this feeling, this moment of new beginning. "Thank you for today," she said. "For being honest. For showing me your mother's house." "Thank you for giving this a chance," Logan replied. "I know it's scary. Terrifying," Bianca agreed. "But worth it." Logan kissed her goodnight, sweet and lingering, and Bianca floated up to her apartment feeling like she was in a dream. A real relationship with Logan Prescott. Her fake boyfriend was now her actual boyfriend. It was surreal and wonderful and absolutely terrifying. Her phone buzzed with a text from Logan. "I forgot to ask. When's your nonprofit launch event? I want to make sure I'm there." Bianca had been planning the launch for her new nonprofit for months. The event was in 2 weeks and she'd been so caught up in the fake relationship that she'd barely mentioned it to Logan. 2 weeks from Saturday. But you don't have to come. I know you're busy. I want to be there. Send me the details. Over the next 2 weeks, Bianca threw herself into preparing for the launch event. Her nonprofit, Connect Future, was focused on providing technology training and mentorship to young people from underserved communities. It was her passion project, something she'd been dreaming about for years. Logan supported her in ways both big and small. He provided contacts for potential donors. He helped her review her marketing materials. He listened to her practice her speech and gave thoughtful feedback. And he did it all without taking over or trying to fix everything, which Bianca appreciated more than she could express. The night before the launch event, Bianca was at her apartment going over her notes for the 100th time when Logan showed up with Thai food. "You need to eat," he said, setting the bags on her counter. "And you need to stop stressing. Everything is going to be perfect. What if no one shows up? What if I can't secure enough funding? What if this whole thing is a disaster? Then we'll figure it out," Logan said calmly. "But it's not going to be a disaster. You've worked too hard for that." They ate dinner, and Logan distracted her by telling stories about disasters at events he'd hosted over the years. By the time he left, Bianca felt calmer and more confident. The next day, the launch event exceeded all her expectations. The venue was packed with supporters, donors, and young people interested in the program. Logan arrived early and stayed in the background, letting Bianca have her moment. When she gave her speech about why Connect Future mattered, about the kids she'd worked with and the potential she saw in providing opportunities and mentorship, her voice was strong and clear. She spoke from the heart about growing up without many resources, about the people who had helped her along the way, about wanting to be that person for others. The applause when she finished was thunderous. After the formal presentation, Bianca mingled with guests, answering questions and accepting congratulations. She saw Logan talking with a group of people, and when she got closer she realized he was telling them about her work, praising her vision and dedication. "You didn't tell me your girlfriend was this impressive," one of the men said to Logan. "I know," Logan replied, meeting Bianca's eyes across the group. "I'm lucky." Later, as the event was winding down, Logan pulled her aside. "I have something for you." "You already donated to the youth center?" Bianca protested. "This is different. I talked to some of my business partners. We want to provide seed funding for Connect Future. Enough to run your programs for the first year while you establish sustainable revenue streams." Bianca's eyes widened. "Logan, that's too much." "It's not too much. It's an investment. I believe in what you're doing. We all do. Take the money. Build something amazing." "I don't know what to say." "Say yes." "Yes." Bianca breathed. "Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much." She hugged him tightly, overwhelmed with gratitude and emotion. This was real. Her nonprofit was real. Her relationship with Logan was real. Everything was finally coming together. As they stood there in her venue, surrounded by people who believed in her vision, Bianca felt a sense of peace settle over her. She'd taken a risk asking a stranger to help her escape a bad date. That risk had led to a fake relationship that became real. And now that real relationship was supporting her dreams in ways she never could have imagined. "I'm proud of you," Logan murmured into her hair. "So incredibly proud." "Thank you for being here," Bianca said. "For all of this. Nowhere I'd rather be." The event was a complete success, and when Bianca finally got home late that night, she collapsed onto her couch with a satisfied smile. Her phone buzzed with congratulatory messages from family, friends, and new supporters. And one from Logan: "You were incredible tonight. Sleep well. See you tomorrow." Bianca smiled and set her phone aside. Tomorrow she'd start the real work of building her nonprofit. Tomorrow she'd continue navigating this new relationship. Tomorrow there would be challenges and obstacles and unknowns. But tonight she'd take a moment to appreciate how far she'd come. From a desperate woman asking a stranger for help to a confident leader launching her own nonprofit, supported by a man who believed in her completely. It had been quite a journey. And it was only the beginning. A month after the nonprofit launch, Bianca was in Logan's apartment going over grant applications when his phone rang. He glanced at the screen and his expression darkened. "It's my father," he said. "I should take this." He stepped out onto the balcony and Bianca could see him through the glass doors, his posture tense as he talked. When he came back inside 10 minutes later, he looked frustrated. "Everything okay?" she asked. "Not really. My father wants to meet again. He says he has something important to discuss." "About us?" Probably. He's been digging into your background trying to find something problematic. It's what he does with anyone I date seriously. Has he found anything? There's nothing to find, Logan said firmly. You're not hiding some dark secret. You're just a normal person trying to do good work. But that won't stop him from trying to make you look bad. The meeting with Richard Prescott was scheduled for the following Tuesday at his office. This time Bianca insisted on going alone. He needs to understand that I'm not going anywhere, she told Logan. And that I won't be intimidated. I don't like this, Logan said. I know. But I can handle it. Richard's office was everything Bianca expected. Expensive, imposing, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. He kept her waiting for 20 minutes before his assistant finally showed her in. Bianca, Richard said, not bothering to stand or shake her hand. Thank you for coming. What did you want to discuss, Mr. Prescott? I'll get straight to the point. I'm offering you $250,000 to end your relationship with my son. Bianca had expected this, but hearing it still felt like a slap. Excuse me? $250,000. Tax-free. Deposited into any account you choose. All you have to do is break up with Logan and sign a non-disclosure agreement stating you won't speak to the press about your relationship. You're trying to pay me to leave your son. I'm offering you a reasonable sum to walk away from a relationship that isn't appropriate. $250,000 is your definition of reasonable? I can go higher if necessary. $300,000. That's my final offer. Bianca stood up, fury coursing through her. Mr. Prescott, I'm not going to take your money. I'm not dating Logan for financial gain. I'm dating him because I care about him. Because he's kind and supportive and makes me happy. And because, despite having a father who treats relationships like business transactions, he's managed to become a good man who values people for who they are, not what they can offer. You're making a mistake, Richard said coldly. The only mistake would be letting you convince me that loving your son is something to be ashamed of. Bianca headed for the door, then turned back. Logan deserves better than this. He deserves a father who cares about his happiness instead of his portfolio. And until you can be that person, I'm going to be the person who supports him and believes in him. Whether you like it or not. She left the office feeling shaky but proud. She called Logan immediately. Your father just offered me $300,000 to leave you, she said. What? Logan's voice was tight with anger. I'm going to kill him. Don't. I handled it. I told him no, and I told him exactly what I thought of his behavior. You said no. To $300,000. Of course I said no. Logan, I'm not with you for your money. I thought you knew that. I did. I do. But $300,000 is meaningless compared to what we have, Bianca finished. Your father doesn't understand that, but I do. There was silence on the line, then Logan said quietly, I love you. Bianca's breath caught. What? I love you. I've been trying to find the right time to say it, but there's never a perfect moment. So I'm saying it now. I love you, Bianca. Not because you're convenient or good for my image or any of those things. I love you because you're you. Because you stood up to my father. Because you believe in helping people. Because you make me want to be better. I love you. Bianca felt tears streaming down her face. I love you too. I think I have for a while now. I was just too scared to admit it. Don't be scared. We'll figure this out together. They met that evening at Bianca's apartment. Logan had flowers and a serious expression. We need to talk about what happens next, he said. My father isn't going to stop. He's going to keep trying to break us up. Let him try. I'm not going anywhere. I know. But there are other considerations. We've been dating for real for 2 months now. People are talking about engagement, about marriage. I don't want you to feel pressured. I don't feel pressured. Do you? No. But I want to be clear about my intentions. I see a future with you, Bianca. A real future. Not tomorrow or next week, but eventually. Is that something you want? Bianca thought about her life before Logan. Quiet and safe but also lonely. Then she thought about her life now. Challenging and sometimes overwhelming but also full and meaningful. Yes, she said simply. I want that too. Over the next few weeks they settled into a rhythm. Bianca continued building Connect Future, which was exceeding all her early goals. Logan supported her while also managing his own company's expansion into underserved markets. They spent weekends at his mother's house, working in the garden and talking about their plans. Logan introduced Bianca to his board members and business partners as someone whose input he valued. Bianca started including Logan in her nonprofit planning meetings. They built their lives together piece by piece, supporting each other's dreams and helping each other through challenges. Richard Prescott continued to make things difficult, spreading rumors and making subtle threats. But Logan stood firm, making it clear that his relationship with Bianca was not negotiable. "He'll come around eventually," Logan said one evening as they sat on the porch of his mother's house. "Or he won't. Either way, it doesn't change how I feel about you. I don't want to be the reason you're estranged from your father. You're not the reason. His inability to prioritize my happiness over his business concerns is the reason. That's his choice, not yours." They sat in comfortable silence, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of pink and orange. Bianca leaned her head on Logan's shoulder, feeling content in a way she'd never experienced before. "You know," she said, "if someone had told me 6 months ago that asking a stranger to pretend to be my boyfriend would lead to all this, I never would have believed them." "Best decision you ever made," Logan said with a grin. "Second best. The best decision was saying yes when you asked to make it real." "I'll take that," Logan said, kissing the top of her head. "I'll definitely take that." 6 months after Bianca had asked a stranger to pretend to be her boyfriend, she stood in the conference room of Connect Future's new office space, looking at the crowd of supporters, volunteers, and program participants who had come to celebrate their half-year anniversary. The nonprofit had grown beyond her wildest dreams. They now served over 200 young people, providing technology training, mentorship, and opportunities for career development. They'd secured funding from several major donors and had built partnerships with tech companies eager to support their mission. "You did this," Logan murmured, standing beside her. "All of this." "We did this," Bianca corrected. "I couldn't have built this without your support." "You could have. It would have taken longer, but you would have done it. You're unstoppable when you believe in something." Bianca smiled and squeezed his hand. In the crowd she could see her family. Her mother Patricia beaming with pride. Denise, who had warmed up to Logan considerably over the past months. Jordan, now enrolled in his dream college thanks to Logan's scholarship program, home for the weekend to attend the celebration. Also in the crowd were Logan's business partners, several board members from his company, and Kim Rodriguez, who had become a genuine friend despite the unusual circumstances of how they'd met. What Bianca didn't see was Richard Prescott, though she knew Logan had extended an invitation. "He's not coming," Logan had said that morning. "I'm sorry." "Don't be." His loss. Now, as Bianca prepared to give her speech, she felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. Her life had changed so much in such a short time, and almost all of it was for the better. "Thank you all for being here," she began, her voice carrying across the room. 6 months ago, Connect Future was just an idea. A dream I'd been carrying around for years, hoping someday I'd have the courage and resources to make it real. Today it's so much more than I ever imagined. She talked about the young people they'd served, about the success stories they'd already seen. About the girl who had landed an internship at a tech company after completing their coding workshop. About the boy who had used their mentorship program to start his own small business. About the teenager who had discovered a passion for digital design through their creative technology classes. "None of this would be possible without the incredible team we've built," Bianca continued. "Our volunteers, our mentors, our staff, and our donors. You all believed in this vision. You all contributed your time, your resources, your expertise. This success belongs to all of us." The applause was warm and genuine. After her speech, Bianca mingled with guests, accepting congratulations and discussing future plans. Logan stayed nearby, not hovering but present, occasionally joining conversations when appropriate. "Your girlfriend is impressive," one of Logan's business partners said. "She's building something that's going to change lives." "I know," Logan said, watching Bianca laugh at something someone said. "She's extraordinary." As the event was winding down, Bianca noticed Logan talking quietly with someone near the door. When the crowd had thinned enough, she made her way over and was shocked to see Richard Prescott standing there. "Mr. Prescott," she said carefully, "I didn't think you were coming." "Neither did I," Richard admitted. He looked uncomfortable, his usual commanding presence somehow diminished. "But Logan convinced me I should see what you've built here. I wanted to understand what he sees in you." "And?" Bianca asked, keeping her tone neutral. "And I see a woman who is dedicated to making a difference, who has built something meaningful with limited resources and tremendous determination. I also see why my son loves you." It was the closest thing to an apology Bianca was likely to get from Richard Prescott, and she decided to accept it gracefully. "Thank you for coming," she said. "It means a lot to Logan that you're here." "May I speak with you privately?" Richard asked. They stepped into Bianca's small office, and Richard looked around at the simple space with its second-hand furniture and walls covered with photos of program participants. "I owe you an apology," he said stiffly. "I've been trying to drive you away from Logan because I thought you were after his money. I see now that I was wrong. I appreciate that. I lost my wife years ago," Richard continued, and his voice softened. "Logan's mother. She was the one who kept me grounded, who reminded me that people matter more than profits. After she died, I threw myself into work. I told myself I was building something for Logan's future. But really, I was just trying not to feel the loss. I forgot what she taught me. That relationships are what matter. That love is more important than ledgers. Logan misses her," Bianca said gently. "He talks about her sometimes." "She would have liked you," Richard said. "Very much. You remind me of her, actually. Strong. Principled. Unwilling to be pushed around by men who think they know better." Bianca smiled despite herself. "I'll take that as a compliment." "It is. I'm asking you to forgive me for my behavior, and to let me be part of your lives moving forward. I'd like to make amends with my son, and I understand now that you're part of that." "I forgive you," Bianca said. "And I hope you can rebuild your relationship with Logan. He wants that even if he doesn't say it." They returned to the main room where Logan was talking with Patricia and Denise. When he saw his father with Bianca, surprise crossed his face. "Dad. Your mother built something remarkable," Richard said, gesturing to Encompass Connect Future. "I'm sorry I didn't see it sooner. I'm sorry for a lot of things. Can we talk later?" Logan glanced at Bianca, who nodded encouragingly. "Yeah, we can talk." As the celebration finally ended and people began to leave, Bianca stood with Logan in the empty conference room, looking at the banners and displays celebrating their first 6 months. "That was unexpected," Logan said. "My father actually apologizing." "People can change," Bianca said. "If they want to." "You changed me," Logan said, pulling her close. "Before I met you, I was going through the motions. Building the company, making money, attending events. But I wasn't really living. You taught me what it means to have purpose. To care about something beyond profit." "You were already that person," Bianca protested. "You just needed someone to remind you." They stood together in the quiet room and Logan pulled a small box from his pocket. "I had a whole plan," he said. "I was going to take you to Paris. Propose at sunset on the Eiffel Tower. Very romantic and dramatic." Bianca's heart started racing. "Logan. But standing here, in this space that represents everything you've built and everything you believe in, this feels right. This feels like us." He opened the box to reveal a simple, elegant ring with a deep blue sapphire surrounded by small diamonds. "Bianca Thompson, you are the strongest, kindest, most remarkable woman I've ever known. You make me better. You make me want to be better. Will you marry me?" Bianca felt tears streaming down her face. "Yes. Yes, absolutely yes." Logan slipped the ring onto her finger and it fit perfectly, the sapphire catching the light. He kissed her, soft and sweet and full of promise, and Bianca felt like she might burst with happiness. "I love you," she said when they finally pulled apart. "I love you too. So much." They left the office together, hand in hand, and drove to her mother's house where both their families had gathered for dinner. When they walked in and announced their engagement, the room erupted in celebration. Patricia cried and hugged them both. Denise immediately started planning the wedding. Jordan gave Logan an enthusiastic high five. Even Richard, who had come at Logan's invitation, shook Logan's hand with genuine warmth and congratulated Bianca sincerely. Later that night, back at Logan's apartment, they sat on the balcony looking out at the city lights. "Do you ever think about how all of this started?" Bianca asked. "Me asking you to pretend to be my boyfriend?" "All the time," Logan said. "Best restaurant bathroom exit of my life. I still can't believe you made that scene. I wanted the ground to swallow me whole. I was trying to be helpful." "You were trying to be dramatic," Bianca corrected with a laugh. "But I guess it worked out. Better than worked out. It led me to you." They sat in comfortable silence, and Bianca thought about the journey that had brought them here. A desperate moment in a restaurant. A viral video. A fake relationship that became real. All the moments of doubt and fear and uncertainty that had led to this profound happiness. "You know," Logan said thoughtfully, "I was noticing you long before that night in the restaurant. At all those events. I thought you were brilliant and kind, but I didn't know how to approach you. So in a way, you asking me for help was the best thing that could have happened. It gave me an excuse to finally talk to you." "Are you saying you were too nervous to just introduce yourself like a normal person?" To the most interesting woman in the room? Absolutely, I was nervous. Bianca laughed and leaned her head on his shoulder. Well, I'm glad I asked that stranger in the fancy suit for help. Even if he did make me wish the ground would swallow me whole. And I'm glad that stranger was me. The next few months were a whirlwind of wedding planning, nonprofit expansion, and combining their lives in meaningful ways. They decided to keep the wedding relatively small and intimate, despite Richard's suggestions for a massive society event. This is about us, Logan said firmly. Not about making business connections or impressing people. Just us and the people we love. The ceremony took place at Logan's mother's house, in the garden Bianca had fallen in love with. The guest list was limited to close family and friends, about 50 people total. Bianca wore a simple but elegant white dress, and Logan looked handsome in a navy suit. As they exchanged vows under an arch covered in flowers, with their families watching, Bianca felt a sense of rightness settle over her. This was where she was meant to be. This was who she was meant to be with. I promise to support your dreams, Logan said during his vows. To believe in you always. To be your partner in building a life that matters. And to never ever make a scene in a restaurant unless you specifically ask me to. The guests laughed and Bianca smiled through happy tears. I promise to challenge you, she said during her vows. To keep you grounded. To remind you of what really matters. And to always be honest with you even when it's hard. I love you, Logan. Not because you're rich or successful or influential. I love you because you're kind and genuine and you make me want to be brave. You're my best friend. And I can't wait to spend the rest of my life with you. They sealed their vows with a kiss and their families cheered. At the reception, as they danced their first dance as husband and wife, Logan whispered, "No regrets." "Not a single one," Bianca replied. "Not even the restaurant incident?" "Especially not the restaurant incident. That disaster led to all of this. How could I regret it?" "Fair point," Logan said, spinning her gently. "Here's to beautiful disasters. And to the people brave enough to walk through them together," Bianca added. They danced under string lights in the garden, surrounded by love and laughter and the promise of a future built together. Bianca looked around at her mother dancing with Richard, at Denise and Jordan talking with Logan's colleagues, at the blending of their two families into something new and wonderful. This wasn't the life she'd imagined 6 months ago when she'd sat in that restaurant, desperate to escape a bad date. It was so much better. So much more meaningful. So much more real. Sometimes the best things in life came from moments of pure chaos. From asking strangers for help. From taking risks that terrified you. From letting someone see you at your worst and choosing to stick around anyway. As the evening wore on and the party continued, Logan and Bianca stood together on the porch of his mother's house, watching their loved one celebrate. "Thank you," Logan said softly. "For what?" "For asking me to pretend to be your boyfriend that night. For giving me a chance. For believing in us when it would have been easier to walk away. For building this life with me." "Thank you for saying yes," Bianca replied. "For being exactly who I needed. For supporting my dreams. For loving me for who I am. Always," Logan promised. "From that first moment in the restaurant to this moment right here to every moment that comes after. Always." They kissed as the sun set behind them, painting the sky in brilliant shades of pink and gold. Their story had started with a fake relationship, but it had become the most real, genuine, beautiful thing in both their lives. And this, standing together in the garden of his mother's house, their families celebrating around them, their future stretching bright and promising ahead, was just the beginning. The real beginning of their forever.